Hi, guys.
Hey.
Hey, Romeos.
How's it going?
It's going, Dominic.
Good.
You?
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Great day.
Great day.
Are you describing yourself?
Oh,
Beautiful.
I thought he was talking about you.
beautiful. Like little Johnny would say, beautiful. Fucking beautiful.
Romeo World Headquarters, people.
Welcome back, everyone.
Aki, manners.
Yes.
Welcome back. Thanks for listening. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for being
Liking.
here with us. We feel you. We feel your presence every day, every night, all around us. You are our aura.
Are you in heat?
Yes.
Okay. Just wanted to clear that.
What a perfect way to transition into today's topic.
Oh, there we go. What are we talking about?
Let's talk about corporal punishment.
Oh, the famous segue.
I must beat you.
Duran enjoys it.
I was thinking more in terms of, how to discipline children.
Oh,
Is it-
okay.
Is there a backstory to this? No, right?
Let me show you my
We're about to find
backside.
out. So first off, you guys good with it?
Oh, yeah.
Not with the topic to discuss, not whether or not you agree with corporal punishment.
Well, okay. So,
Yeah.
Topic, yes,
Yes.
and potentially yes for corporal punishment. Again, defining what it is. and-
Defining what it means.
Yeah, exactly. We need to dig into this one a little bit more.
Well, in its simplest form,
Yes.
I believe corporal punishment is the use of physical force
yes.
Okay.
as a means of disciplining
Yeah.
children.
Yes, but now the question is how much physical force?
Well, your
any
your
contact.
background in science will come in handy when we start discussing
There we go. Degrees.
the degrees and measures
Exactly.
through which we will determine whether force was excessive, appropriate, or inappropriate.
Yep. I think it's a great topic.
Okay, so something not necessarily that I'm knowledgeable about, but that I suspect is that Aki has firsthand experience with this subject. And so,
I really was a good kid.
if you guys don't mind, I'm going to ask him to kick it off.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so what do we mean by corporal punishment? First of all, can we be clear on the definition?
So hang on. First of all, were you ever beaten as a child?
I will get to that.
So I tried.
Let me see the choices that we come up with, and then I will.
So
I will
Aki,
answer.
I just tried defining it.
Okay.
It's the use of physical force.
Okay.
So physical force means you're either applying,
Your mom's slipper?
a part of your being,
red line.
a part of your being
Right.
to inflict some physical disciplinary action on a child.
Okay.
Or you're using some object
Okay. So
and applying it to physically discipline a child.
Check.
okay. So if you're with your child and you're crossing the street and you come across somebody that you don't like and you don't want to spend any time over there and you just yank at your child so that they can move faster and you can avoid that contact, is that considered corporal punishment?
No.
Well, punishment means there was some act that was
Yeah.
committed
You
that you
yanked
did
them.
not agree.
You yanked your
no.
child.
No.
No?
But
Okay.
did the child before that do something that was
The child was taking their time and you wanted them to move faster. So
Okay, you yank them. Sure. Okay, so that would be
That would
corporal
be
punishment.
corporal punishment.
Well, yeah, depending on how hard you yanked, yes.
Does the arm come out of the
Yeah,
socket?
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, so I think, I sure. I mean,
Does the child come off the ground?
have I? Okay, so I, as a child, being coming from an ethnic background, and I think you will be chiming in. Absolutely, and your reference earlier to the infamous slipper, absolutely, which meant that on occasion, especially the mothers,
Was it thrown or used?
it was both, but
Okay.
mostly thrown.
Mostly thrown. Okay.
Mostly
So hold
thrown.
on. Was the slipper on your parents' foot at the time it was
course.
applied to you? Or was it being held in one of
was
their hands?
Hand, bang.
It was a hand. In my case, it was hand. It was hand, and it was a
And
hand.
what part
was-
of your anatomy did the slipper come into
Oh,
contact with?
irregardless, whatever was available, whatever could be hit,
Whatever landed.
wherever it landed, exactly.
And
Wow.
Exactly.
Was it the front or the heel? Because
The front or the heel.
that's right. Because it depends on the severity.
There
If it-
wasn't that much thought put into it in my experience.
Okay,
It was
because if she took it off from the
very-
front and she used the heel, that would hurt a lot more.
It was very very on the spur of the moment, and with a lot of intensity and a lot of
yelling.
anger and yelling
And
it was,
screaming.
and it was embarrassing.
So,
it was embarrassing.
as you share these personal experiences with us, I'm starting to understand a lot
Well,
more.
I'm very happy because I this is why I love sometimes how these discussions become so therapeutic. Thank you.
Wait,
I take
wait.
great comfort in that.
Wait till you get to me.
But now hold it on. Now, having said that and having that being my experience, would I sit here and say that I was abused as a child? That's certainly not.
So you don't consider that abuse?
I did not consider that abuse.
Would you cry afterwards?
Sometimes.
Okay.
When I was when I was younger.
So you
Was
don't
it
consider
shocking?
you don't consider it abuse because
there
you
wasn't
don't
hate.
like what that might say about your parents?
No, I don't consider it abuse because I wasn't scarred. I didn't have
Well,
hate
let's
from
see
my
about that.
parents.
You can't necessarily be the best judge of whether or
Well,
not you're
okay,
scarred.
I will.
According to
I
us.
bow to your wisdom, my good friend. But I didn't, and I don't think I was. I didn't have any sort of complex as a result of that, or any psychological issues as a result of that. So that's why I'm not abused.
It begs the question: since you see nothing wrong with the way in which your parents
I
brought
did
you
say
up,
that.
and the fact that they
does beg
applied
the question.
corporal punishment, did you apply the same form of discipline with your children?
Adamantly, no.
Why?
Because it's not appropriate. That was a different generation, different times.
No. I hate that.
Well, that's what
I
it
hate
was.
when we say it was a different generation. It
It
doesn't
was.
make it right.
The norms were different.
The
norms may have been
The
different.
norms were different.
The norms may have been
so-
different.
So now, as people of our age, right, and we were more educated than our parents, most of us. So
It's not about
So are you saying your
education.
parents were barbaric?
No, I'm not saying my parents were barbaric. They were more impulsive. And look, mostly it was my mother. I spent more time with my mother. I think as most of us did. Everything, the highs and the lows, it was always my mother that was dealing with that. And she could be short-tempered. And this is the way, it.
And how long did it persist? At what age did it stop? Like
Probably-
15, 16,
no.
17?
33.
No. Look, it was.
His wife took over.
It was
And he's lucky.
I'm very happy. I'm very happy here to open the floodgates, the floodgates to this.
Oh, boy.
Look, it was.
You're happy we're opening the floodgates. I'm happy we can find humor in this.
That's
Wow.
That's part of it. So look.
Okay.
So up to I think it was up to when I was in elementary school. So when I was in high school, that really didn't happen that much anymore. But as I said, it was no hard feelings. I loved my mother. I love her to this day. God bless her soul. It was just one of those quirks of the time. Now.
But you wouldn't do that to your
But
children.
I would not do that.
And you didn't
And
do
I
it.
did not do that to my kids under any. No,
How about your grandkids?
I don't have any. No.
Well, the cycle
Are we going to become
continues.
senile? If we're going to become senile, I don't know. All bets are off.
Okay.
I hope not.
Okay, so no,
So-
all kidding aside. So
Yes.
it happened to you when you were a kid.
And I don't consider it abuse.
You didn't consider it abuse. Did it in terms of severity? I mean, obviously
No.
there were times when you cried.
Yeah.
But that was more probably the shock of it than actually
the
how
anger,
it felt.
The anger, like seeing your parent,
Yeah,
get that
getting-
angry at you.
losing
So,
it.
Felt bad.
I'm curious.
Okay.
Did anyone other than your parents physically discipline you when you were a child?
Yeah, one person did.
Your uncle and
A very close friend of the family.
there you go.
Really?
Was that acceptable?
It was unacceptable.
It was
It
unacceptable.
was unacceptable.
Your
Why? It's okay for your parents.
Wait a second.
Yes.
Did your
Yes.
parents? It was unacceptable to you now that you're thinking about
And it was
it. At the
unacceptable
time,
to my mother. It was one of her very close friends.
Oh.
So, yeah.
interesting. Okay.
So absolutely. Right. So, but that was my mother. Absolutely.
So your mother's attitude was
No, this
that
is my child.
Right.
My child.
I can do what I choose with my child.
but nobody else can lay
I
a
totally
finger
agree
on my
with that.
child.
So,
Totally agree.
but it's interesting because in the time, and you touched on something quite interesting because in the time, or back in the day, in the 70s, 60s, 70s, I
60s,
guess,
70s, yeah.
when we were kids, it was acceptable sometimes for close members of the family, uncles, aunts, or close friends. To discipline others.
Correct.
Kids.
I don't know if it was acceptable, but it was.
It was done. It was
done.
common.
Yeah.
It was
Well,
certainly
you guys
done.
make me laugh.
And the schools used to do it as
Yeah,
well.
I was actually
School
I was
teachers.
Yes, exactly.
in grade
applied-
one. Yes, actually, thank you for remembering. Yes, I
Oh,
was.
see, it was a repressed memory.
I was absolutely in grade one. I remember now. She our teacher,
Would
was
slap.
physical with us.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I don't want to focus on the fact that it sounds like you were a terrible kid. But
But you're going to go there anyway.
no. So how did your mother react to a teacher physically disciplining you?
You know what? And that's the other paradox, because she
was okay with
she
that.
was okay with that because it was a teacher.
Because it
Something
was-
else that we talked about earlier. I mean, the kind of respect, and he looked up
to the teachers.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's interesting because I got slapped in Armenian school
Oh, there you
when
go.
I was a kid, and she slapped me in the face so hard that my head hit because I was sitting against a wall. My head hit the wall, and it hurt my head. I might have gotten a concussion for all I know. And I told my parents, and I said, I'm never going back there. And then my parents never sent me back. It was a Saturday Armenian school thing, and I never went back to school because of that.
So you found a way to get out of Armenian
Exactly.
school.
Yeah, well, fortunately or unfortunately, because now I don't know how to read and write in Armenian.
But you
Because-
speak it fluently.
I do, but I mean, it would have been nice to actually be able to read the damn thing.
Why?
But, well, just it's my
So
heritage.
you can secretly correspond with your brother, or
Not that he doesn't really. I think he can read, but yeah, it's rusty for him. But yeah, so that's something similar to me, and my parents somehow, because they never really beat me, I got out of it.
what do you mean they didn't beat you?
I was never beaten as a child, except for the one time that I'll talk about later, because I think right now Dominic
So
is
they
chomping
never,
at the
they
bit.
never. So your parents never applied physical force.
No, I was a super good kid. I never gave him any reason except for one time when I shoplifted when I was 11 years old, and then my dad gave me a decent beating on my bum. He basically smacked my ass around a few times, hurt like hell. I cried like hell, and I knew he didn't want to do it, but he had to, because in his mind this was something that was, that rose to the level of requiring corporal punishment. And it was a one-time deal, one shot, and that was it. So yeah, I was
Okay.
kind of lucky.
Dominic?
Well, funny, because my parallel with Aki is not surprising, both ethnic. So to me, it was my mother. My dad never touched me, but my mother, very often. And her weapon of choice was the wooden spoon.
Weapon of choice.
Hey.
Yeah. So that was
On the hand or the butt?
every part of the body she could hit. Because
shit.
I was faster than her, but that spoon was pretty long. So,
She had
and,
the reach.
Yeah, but I mean, it was never like that it was painful or whatever. I would laugh most of the time, which didn't help matters.
You were taunting her.
Yeah, exactly. So it was always challenging her. So that, but my dad never touched me. Thank God, because he would have killed me. But so it was, and like, I don't consider that abuse. When I think back, no. I mean, when I became a parent and I look back, yeah, I kind of deserved it. The things that I did.
Did you ever do it?
No, I didn't do it. I didn't have to. I mean, I'm not going to take credit for it, because it wasn't a situation that really came up that was, needed.
So as you reflect back,
Yeah.
and I don't want to put words in your mouth, so I ask you the question. So you feel that you deserved the physical discipline that your mother
Yeah,
administered?
most of the times. I mean, I can't recall like every single situation, but I remember challenging her all the time, pissing her off, and
I don't see that in you.
yeah.
He's, yeah, okay.
So like, but I mean, yeah, there were, there were reasons for it too, but
Yeah.
but to me,
So I want to come back to
Yeah.
the question Noran asked you, because you said you never had reason to do it yourself, meaning
No.
with your children,
no.
because they were so well behaved.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, look, it's a good question. Just that, I never saw the need for it. There was always a way to talk.
Had you seen the need, would you have done it?
I don't know. It's the thing, I mean, and I never got to that point, So, but I think if you can avoid it, you should always avoid it. But you know what? If it doesn't,
As the administrator or as the recipient?
but you know what, Matt? If it doesn't inflict pain or injury, and if it's exceptional, it's not the end of the world.
Okay. So if it's more of a shock than a pain, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, exactly.
If a child, because essentially the person the child is looking up to, the person that they're bonded with, that they love the most on the planet, if that person all of a sudden, gives them a smack or a smack
Yeah.
on the bum, it's shocking, and it and it's a huge negative enforcement, negative reinforcement for whatever action just happened. So if they do something immediately and you want to provide quick negative reinforcement, that's a good way to do it. Now, does negative reinforcement work? Does it not? What's the level? How much are you hurting the child? Are you causing psychological pain in the future? Aki, that kind of stuff. We don't know.
Where's my medication?
Yeah, but I don't think it was ever at that level.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
My mother, it was a wooden spoon.
So do any of you recall an instance? Well, you do, because the way you described that one spanking you got.
Yeah.
But for Dominic and Aki, do you recall any instance of feeling pain or being physically hurt?
No, never. Like I said, my problem is that I used to laugh. The more she hit, the more I laughed.
But maybe you're a masochist.
Well, that didn't help, because to me it was a defense mechanism.
Yeah, you're
Laughing.
different. I was scared.
I was never scared.
I was scared.
So basically, we know
Did
that
you-
your
did you
mom was
feel-
scarier
did
than
you
his
feel
mom.
pain? Did you feel pain?
Pain in when it happened on the spot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
On the spot. Yes. I felt pain.
Slipper
Because
hurts.
you talk about a
Yeah.
tap. I mean, your mother. I'm using the example, whether it's a wooden spoon or a slipper.
slipper,
They can literally tap you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No.
Like literally tap you, and it's like, okay, you used an object. Literally, it has no bearing. You could have caressed my cheek and it would have the same feeling.
Yeah. I mean,
Well, that's not a spanking. That's
It's a tap.
yeah.
As opposed to something whereby you vividly recall, I felt pain in the moment. I recall feeling pain.
I think it felt better for her than it did for. It's like, because it relieved her frustration with me.
Yeah, but she wasn't laughing. You were, so I'm not sure it felt better for her.
Yeah, I know. To me, it was a defense mechanism, and I realized later in life that I was making the situation worse. But when you're a kid, you react where you don't put too much thought into it. You just react.
So two of us were beaten regularly. One, me, was exceptional. How about you, Pat?
Never. And it's not because I was a good kid, just to put it out there. So, no, my parents had a philosophy that you don't hit children. In fact, I remember from an early age, my parents sitting down with us and saying, no one, not us, not your grandparents, not school teachers, no one is allowed to lay a hand on you.
Well, somebody won the lottery.
So
Ka-ching, ka-ching.
now, I will say, I think my brother compensated.
Okay.
So Philip, he
Shout out.
He routinely would beat the crap out of me.
The exception to the peace pact.
Well, my brother would do that too.
To the point where, because there's a 1 year difference, but when you're a young kid, a year's it's a big difference in age.
My brother's 5 years older.
Yeah, that's a huge difference. So
My chip
until it
too.
got to the point where my mother one day said to me, you have to defend yourself. And so I thought, oh, okay. And so I learned to defend myself. But the only person who inflicted physical harm on me at a young age was my brother.
Okay. Which is normal.
And even when he would get disciplined for that, it wouldn't be through physical force. So no, my parents were of the opinion that
Maybe he should have been.
maybe, I don't know.
Make him stop.
Hey, Philip.
Maybe if I think long and hard, I'd tell you I wish he hadn't been. No. So no, they were of the opinion that any form of discipline, they could communicate verbally when we were in the wrong or did something they disapproved of, and and they were pretty adamant that if we went to school and a teacher, or if it was an aunt or an uncle or a grandparent, no one was allowed to lay a finger on us.
Us, we had the strap. So if you got the strap at school.
No, and it's interesting because my dad was an only child, but my mom was one of three sisters.
Okay.
And I would say that her philosophy wasn't shared necessarily by the two other sisters.
Okay.
There was one in particular who I know administered major corporal punishment, particularly to her eldest son. To the point that when I was exposed to, because they lived in France, and when we would go on vacation and visit with them,
Are we cousins?
it was, to me, it was shocking.
Oh, really?
Literally shocking.
You're not used to it.
You saw it in front of you. She would do
Well,
it.
he actually showed us the strap that his mother and father would use to discipline him.
Wow.
And
Where did that go with him? Just out of curiosity.
well, not well,
Okay.
not well.
And see,
So for me, I guess having the example of how my parents raised us certainly had a huge influence on my philosophy.
Yeah.
I don't think so, because look, all four of us have the same philosophy that none of us really wanted to.
No,
use
I can
corporal
only
punishment.
speak for myself. So I can tell you, I never once in my life believed that it was okay. So, I'm going to protect the innocent here, so I'm not going to name names, but in the course of the last year or so, I was in the company of someone, male, not of our generation, younger, and we observed in the neighborhood a father disciplining a young boy, his young son. So it was along the lines of yanking him by the arm and like really hard,
Okay.
and then grabbing him and pulling him back towards the house and raising his voice at him. And the person I was with said, I because I was shaking my head. And he says, I was raised that way, and nothing wrong.
And he was younger.
Yeah, quite a bit.
Okay.
And nothing wrong. And, kids need to be disciplined. And my whole view. So that's why I say for me, the early life lesson was, first of all, as it applies to yourself, but then as you think of applying it to others, that physical force is not the preferred or acceptable way of disciplining someone.
Okay.
it's not the preferred, but if it doesn't inflict any injury or pain, and it's exceptional
I'm not
cases,
sure. I'm not sure how or where you draw the line. Because at what point do you finally figure out, I may have gone too far?
Yeah, but Pat, this is how you feel. Would you impose that on someone else? Is what I'd like to know.
Well, I could not have married someone, for instance, who believed that it was perfectly acceptable.
I'm not talking about your spouse. I'm talking about, for example, that guy that did that to his kid on the street. Would you be inclined to call the police and say, "Hey, he just abused his child"?
No, because for me, it didn't cross a line that I would deem to be
Violence.
Excessive.
Well, excessive.
harmful to the child.
So I'm sure that the young boy felt, his father's physical strength just in pulling him and tugging him and, grabbing him. But I didn't see him strike the boy. I didn't see him either with his hand or with an object. If I had observed that, then I would say in all likelihood, I would have intervened either directly, even though I may be told it's none of my business.
I'm sure you would have been told that, yeah.
Right. But no. And look, I mean,
So you would
I
have said
understand.
something.
yeah, I would have said something. And
I would not have. Unless it's like really unless he's beating the child, beating the
Well,
child.
I'm beating the child.
Like,
Saying,
okay, you slap him in the ass or something.
Yeah.
No.
Again, there's a slap and there's a slap. If somebody uses excessive force,
For me, if it's on the ass and you still hit him hard, it's your kid. He did something.
Yeah, but
whatever.
you're slapping him in the face.
it's
a few
your
times.
kid.
No, that's a different thing.
If you see a guy slapping, you're out. I don't know. You're downtown walking around, and you see a guy who slaps his girlfriend or his wife in the face.
No, face is different because there's concussion. That's part of that. I'm talking about the ass.
Well,
when
I
you
don't know.
slap a kid in the ass.
A young child is developing.
Yeah.
There's nothing solid about a young child. Their bone, their skeletal structure.
No, they're little bendy things. You can throw them up
yeah,
against walls.
you can also break things real easily, right?
What,
So
what if you kick him at like a 3-point conversion?
yeah.
I wouldn't kick him. Kicking is a
Well,
little
that's
bit.
it.
No, and
but
I
if
would
you
tell you,
slap
generally speaking, I don't make it my business to get involved in other people's business.
Yeah.
I don't.
Well, unless it's
But
really violent.
if I saw something that I consider to be of a violent nature,
So,
I think
okay.
I'd have a hard time not
Well, definitely.
saying
definitely,
something or
yeah,
doing
yeah,
something.
of course.
But your threshold of violence might be different from mine and different
of
from the
course
other
it might
guys.
be
It's
different.
very subjective. It
Yeah,
can be very
exactly.
subjective.
And I guess by nature it'll be subjective based on how you feel and what you've grown up with. So Yeah, I see that. It would be a hell of a threshold for me to cross for me to actually open my mouth.
Right.
I mean, if it's a slap in the face, it's a different story. But if it's something in the bum or the hand or whatever.
What about, here's a situation for you, Nuran. So if you see a little one, with the parent, and the little one is just screaming and having a fit. The parent, you haven't seen the parent like physically do anything to him or her.
Yeah.
But they're absolutely, you can tell, there's something wrong with this little one. They're
No.
they're very
Sometimes kids
scared.
just lose it.
A kid can throw a tantrum.
Okay.
You could be in a grocery
would
store.
that kind of, would you
No.
then ask any questions or
No,
no?
I'd be sympathetic to the parents
Yeah.
because at that point that kid's just lost its mind.
Yeah.
Every once in a while,
No,
a
so
kid
look,
will
we've
just
all
lose
we've
it.
all had the experience of you're in a store.
Yeah.
And a kid throws a tantrum.
Yeah.
We don't know why the kid is throwing a tantrum.
that's
It
it.
could be for any number of reasons.
Exactly.
And the parent starts disciplining the child in public.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would
So-
pay
so
closer attention to that child, but
Well, no, to me, it's again, that's none of my business.
Yeah.
But if I see that parent raise their arm and strike the child,
Yeah. Exactly.
okay.
that's a problem.
That's exactly. It's like if you see someone striking their girlfriend on the street. I see TikToks of that all the time, where guys are passing by. Most guys will do something about it. Some guys keep walking, but most guys will intervene and get between the two of them and say, hey, what are you doing?
Except you have to be careful these days.
Well, nowadays it's true. You do have to be careful.
You have to be careful.
But,
Well, yeah, you have to be
but you
careful,
can't,
but at the same
you can't
time,
ignore
No,
certain things either.
no.
if someone's striking someone on the street, if it's
Yeah.
a guy that's hitting a woman and then she's like cowering or whatever, it's like,
Oh yeah.
at a certain point, you got to say fuck it and get a pair of balls.
Yeah.
But okay.
What about, okay, here's another scenario. What about a situation where the parent just has lost it and is just screaming and is enraged with the little one and is just towering over them and screaming and then saliva and they just lost it. And this is happening like right in the middle of a public
Are you
place.
thinking of anyone in particular?
No, I'm just saying.
So, Aki, when that happens to you, count to 10.
So in that situation
So,
again,
it's-
if you observe that, you
it's
see
in it-
totally
it's-
they lost control of
That's
the
very rare.
parent.
It's inappropriate in my mind. Obviously, it's going to have an impact on the child,
Yeah, and
but
maybe,
it's and it could be of a more psychological nature.
Yes.
and maybe what you do is you go up to the parent
Okay,
and you
you
go,
would-
hey, is
I
everything
would.
okay? Are you okay?
that
Can we help with
Okay.
something?
Yeah, I agree.
You do it that way.
Yeah, I agree.
You don't physically take the guy and start shaking him. Why are you yelling at a kid?
But I would intervene in that way. the
Yeah,
way you
it's like,
described
hey,
it.
are you okay? Is
Because it
everything
could
all
be an
right?
accumulation of things that day.
Of course. But I mean, it's just
And it may have nothing to do with the
it
child.
is a red flag. We agree that is a
Yeah.
red flag.
No, it may be.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't have to be.
It warrants someone stepping in to talk to the
Yeah,
person to say,
exactly.
"Hey, is everything
Yeah.
okay? Can we help?" Show some compassion. I know you're not a very compassionate person.
No,
Aki,
I know it's yeah.
but yeah, I mean,
So for me, and again, I'm
sociopath that I
not
am.
saying I'm right.
It's the slipper that did that.
To me, raising your voice, not desirable, but acceptable.
Yeah, but not
yeah.
just raise your
As
voice. I'm
opposed-
talking about
as
rage,
opposed-
raw rage.
Well, raw or define raw rage. I mean, anger to the point that you're yelling at a child.
Exactly.
yeah,
I mean, you've lost it at that
yeah,
point.
that's
But
pretty
if that for me, if that would ever cross over into something physical,
we agree.
then it goes from undesirable yet acceptable to totally unacceptable.
Yeah.
okay. So did no one ever slap or beat any of their children around this table?
No.
Because I have.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to share the experience?
Once with my daughter, when she was supposed to look after her brother, and then she started playing with her friends, and he was like 2 years old on a street where cars were kind of going around. So I got super upset at her, and I spanked her, and she remembers that vividly because it was, I think, the one and done kind of thing, like what had happened to me actually, and I felt terrible. I mean, I felt like completely terrible after.
In the moment or afterwards?
Both. Like,
So why did you do it?
in the moment. Well, yeah, it's a good question.
Well, because
I
you're
felt
human.
compelled. I felt compelled at the
Exactly.
time, and I was scared
Yeah.
for what had happened, what could have happened.
Scared and-
because the car, had zoomed around, and he was close to the street.
But it
and all
wasn't a
this stuff.
habitual thing.
Oh my God, no.
So
Yeah.
what
So it
I'm
scared the
curious about, is what about that situation was so different that rather than sit her down and have a stern conversation with her about her lack of responsibility,
Yeah, I lost it.
you chose to take physical action. What in that particular situation?
I wish I could tell you everything that was going on in my head at that moment,
Exactly.
but whatever it was
It's a
the
level of
safety-
upset that you had not previously
never,
experienced.
because it was the safety of my other child that she had, basically taken the responsibility.
But nothing happened to him.
No, nothing happened to him. But the fact that something could have happened to him was the thing that triggered me. So it was a triggering moment for me. It was a me issue, not a her issue, and it was something that I regret afterwards.
So when you say
100
regret,
times over.
so when you say regret, a day or two later, or a week later, or a year later,
I'm sure I've apologized to her.
Would you have handled the situation differently?
Yes. Yeah, I was
would have,
young.
right?
Yeah, I was young, and to me, there would have been a much better way to handle it, which is to sit her down and use it as a learning moment, express it to her, talk to her about it, show her, maybe punish her, but say, okay, we're taking, activity away or something like that. There's many other ways you can discipline a child without resorting to that. But in that moment, at that time, that's what happened.
So does she to this day? You say
she remembers it,
She,
yeah.
But does she hold it against you? Does she think
Well,
that you
hold it
were-
against me,
You were unfair to her, or what's her attitude?
I
towards
think
it?
so. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, she does think that you were in the wrong.
It's a negative memory for her,
Really?
and it's a memory that just like when my dad did that to me, it's something that I still remember, and I don't remember much, but I remember that.
But your dad was in your mind. He was justified.
Well, justified.
Was it? Oh, maybe not. You don't see it that way.
Justified.
He could-
Yes,
there are other ways
I understood
there are
why.
other ways he could have handled the situation.
Correct. I understood why it happened,
Okay.
and it stopped me from ever doing that again, obviously. But yeah, he could have handled it differently, just like I could have handled it differently. Because I don't think you need to be hitting your children. You don't have to. There are many other ways to discipline a child. If you do, and if it's if it's a little slap or whatever, okay, I'm fine to not make it a big deal. But if you're slapping your child full on in the face, because concussions can come pretty easily, especially on a small child, and you don't know what the damage you're doing to a child. Never mind the psychological damage. That's a whole other thing that we should talk about.
Yeah.
But physical damage, as long as it's a light little tap or whatever, okay, fine.
So it's interesting because you raise a point that is leading me to reflect on. There's our recollection as parents of how we may have disciplined our kids, and then there's their recollection,
Yes.
which may not align to our recollection.
Well, that's the
So
psychological
asked the
part.
question earlier. I can tell you,
Yeah.
I never struck my children, which isn't to say that there weren't situations where I may have tapped the bottom or by force taken them into their room or put them on a step and say, you're going to sit here for the next 5 minutes and think about what you did.
Okay.
So that's the application of force for the purpose of disciplining a child, but without, in my
Striking.
mind, physically harming them.
Oh, okay. So
Right?
like one of these or a little tap on the bum.
As opposed to, I'm going to inflict force so you feel pain, and that pain, and it's not that everybody goes through this logical thought process, but that pain is going to demonstrate to you, that you did something wrong, and you should not do it again, because if you do, there will be similar repercussions.
So some people would say that
Right.
you did use corporal punishment. Right?
Perhaps that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Right. So
yeah.
to me, there was never any thought of applying physical force
But
for
you
the
said,
purpose
you
of
forced
hurting.
them-
but you did
You physically
to a much lesser degree.
As in, it's not come with me and sit down. It's I will physically
Correct.
pick you up.
But you said a tap on the
sit
butt.
you- yeah, I can give a tap on the butt. Yeah.
Yeah.
So some people, as I said,
Yes,
some
yes.
people would consider
Yes.
that tap on the butt to be corporal
And that's why
punishment.
you triggered something in me, and that I said. So I recall those situations.
Okay.
Not that there were many, but I recall those situations as a form of discipline that doesn't equate to corporal punishment. If you sit down with my daughters, I don't know if they would tell you, yeah, I remember a situation where my dad hit me. It's like, okay.
That would
I
be an
don't
interesting,
recall. Yeah. So
That would be an interesting follow-up.
if they watch this podcast, right? Or
Your comments
they
are welcome,
damn well
girls.
better.
they damn well better, or else there will be consequences, right? Yeah. So yeah, they may have a different perspective,
Interesting. Okay.
and I'm just
That's interesting.
building on what you just said about your experience.
Yeah, yeah. It saddens me. Truly, it saddens me that I did that, and that there are consequences that she had to suffer, not in the moment, but also past that moment.
Yeah, but
and that sucks.
Yeah. See, so
that sucks.
I have no similar recollection.
So that's why when it comes to your beatings and maybe not yours because you were laughing, but maybe that, like you said, was a defense strategy. You may not think that there's any lasting implications of it, but like I said, the one time that I did that with
So
my
now
daughter,
you're onto the psychological as opposed to the physical.
exactly, and that's the part that's a little bit, it's under the covers, so to speak.
Okay, but let me test it this way for each of you.
Okay.
So are there situations where your parents didn't apply corporal punishment, but expressed disappointment in something you had said or done
Yes.
in such a way that to this day,
Yeah.
you recall vividly that situation and disappointing a parent or both parents,
Sorry, I'm laughing.
and you feel terrible about
So,
it, or
yeah.
right? Because I'm just asking the question. I'm interested in your responses because one would argue that psychologically that marks you, perhaps just as much as if you had received, some
Well, it's a form of disciplining
physical
in a
discipline.
sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me give you the example. So this was actually my first year at university, and I was going at my university was downtown in the city. So I could have taken public transit. We were on our budget as a family. We had to be careful with our money. But I decided, I had this old car, the Maverick, which you might remember, right? So I would insist,
Three-speed, yes.
right. So it would be. This is what a lot of the university crowd. They had their cars and they would drive downtown, and I'd be doing the same thing. And parking was horrible, and I was so irresponsible that I racked up like a month of parking tickets. Almost getting parking tickets every day. Yeah.
Overdale. You had to park on Overdale.
Yeah. So my father, of course, saw what I was doing, and just basically gave me the silent treatment. Like, my father was a man of very few words. He would never be physical the way my mother was, but I had a lot of respect for him. And when he gave me the silent treatment for at least a week, he would not talk to me or even look at me.
And you knew why.
And I knew why, because of, how dare I be so stupid
Reckless,
and
yeah.
so reckless and so irresponsible to run up a tab like that. So that, to this day, I remember. And parking for me is a very, parking tickets, it's a very sensitive topic because of that experience that I had with them.
Can you teach that to my kids? Ash, I'm talking about you.
Right? I mean, this was, again, I was a young
Sorry,
adult.
Dash.
I wasn't a kid. I was like, my first year university. So, yeah.
So anything from when you were a young child?
No, I mean, my mother, again, it scared me, and it was unpleasant. But in the larger scheme of things, the unconditional love that she gave me and what she did for us, for all of us, and the type of mother that she was, it was just, for me, just a speck that doesn't have any weight.
Mm-hmm.
Yet you still don't want to do that to your kids.
And I
though.
don't want to do that to my kids. No, absolutely.
So when did that? Sorry to interrupt, but when did that light, that thing flip in your head to say, yes, she did it. Yes, I don't have any hard feelings, but I won't do that to my kids.
You know what? Because I think it was embarrassing. I think that was embarrassing of her to do that, to react that way and behave
In front
that
of
way.
others.
Just as a mother, as a
embarrassing
parent,
to who?
As a parent, for her, I think. Look, in my eyes, I think it was very embarrassing that she had to resort to that.
But if you were at
In
home
your
alone,
eyes.
In my eyes,
Even
yeah.
Not necessarily in hers.
so
I think it was embarrassing in her eyes as well.
Did she ever tell you that?
Just knowing the way she would deal with things and the way she would think through things, I think she had severe regrets, and I think she was embarrassed by it.
But
And
when the
so
two of you were alone or in front of other people?
When the slipper would go
exactly,
flying?
yeah.
No, it was when we were alone. I wasn't in front of other people.
So you felt she was embarrassed by her reaction.
Yes.
You think?
Yes,
Okay.
I think so.
Hey, why did I
we
lose
agreed
it?
that, yeah, and we both know that this is not the way.
Did you guys have a
to handle
discussion
things.
about that?
No.
At some point?
No,
No.
I didn't bring it up.
Okay.
Yeah, but there was that level of them. So to your point is like, I consider that to be very embarrassing. So why would I, as a parent now, put myself in an embarrassing situation?
Or put your kids through
That's
that.
why you wouldn't do it?
One of the reasons why I wouldn't do it, of course, it wouldn't be the principal one, but it's just, overall, it's not the way you communicate with your kids. Your
So
point
I find
earlier.
it interesting. And again, I can't get inside your heads, but on the one hand, I hear you saying, no, it was fine. It was okay. But at the same time, you're saying it's not okay.
Well, let's say this. That's why I asked. When did that switch flip in your head to say, yeah, it was okay for me, but I don't want to do it to my
I
kids.
don't think it's a switch. It's just something that.
Is it society has changed over the years? Because we talked about society
it's your
changing.
personality. It's your personality. Who you are, what you believe in, regardless of what your childhood was. I mean.
Like I guess the way I would explain it is it's okay in the sense that I love my mother and I look up to her, and to this day my memories of her are nothing but positive. So that's in that sense, that I.
Yeah.
Is it possible that you feel the embarrassment for her?
Yeah.
That I wish she hadn't have done that
Yeah.
because it somehow
Yeah,
it
it's
takes
backward.
away.
It's backward.
Yeah.
Like in my mind, it's backward. It's
And
kind
it
of old world to backward, and we should be
We should be
more
beyond
modern
that.
people. Exactly.
So society did change in your mind.
that's-
Then.
yeah.
I
So
don't feel like that at all. My mother, I don't think she was embarrassed. I wasn't embarrassed. I mean, but to answer your question, like psychological, no, I think I pissed them off, but I've never disappointed them.
You see, sorry, but
I don't know if there's a difference there, but
my
as a kid, I pissed them off many times,
Yeah.
especially my mother. But,
But my point is, okay, so you pissed them off. Think of one of those situations where you pissed them off.
Yeah.
Your mother or your parents didn't apply any physical force to discipline you, but they disciplined you verbally, say.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Are there situations that come to mind where you say, oh, yeah, no, I recall that?
I
And,
can't recall any, to
No.
be honest.
okay. You, Naren?
I don't recall any verbal disappointment thing on my side at all. Mind you, my memories are crappy.
Yeah.
Meaning my ability to remember stuff is not so great. I can't come up with a moment. The reason I was laughing much earlier when you first brought it up, because I was thinking of the time that my mom had that discussion about marrying out of your whatever your background or
Your culture.
my culture, exactly,
which offended you greatly.
which offended me quite a bit. But this was obviously when I was in my early 20s. So and that was
No, but that's something she would have said that pissed you off.
correct. Yeah. So,
As opposed
and
to
I didn't take
you're
my
having
slipper
done
off.
something. Yeah, right.
So
No, so it's I asked the question because for me, and I don't really have, physical discipline to compare to. So I can't contrast the two and say, this is the impact one had or the other had. But there was
no
certainly
pun intended.
yeah. But there was certainly no shortage of situations where I acted in a way that my parents were not pleased with.
Mm-hmm.
And the form of discipline was, first of all, a conversation, and then you lose a privilege. So where it was, you know what? You don't get to participate in hockey tonight.
They were ahead of their time.
Or something along those lines.
Yeah, well, in our case, or in my case, they couldn't take away any privileges. We didn't have any. So,
Life. They could have taken your life.
that's it. Yeah,
So, but I recall to this
We
day.
were on the other side of the tracks.
Well, think of an activity you enjoyed.
South
And
Central
say
Montreal.
you don't get to partake in that activity.
yeah, but you see,
Right?
Stefan, I think your parents were educated, while my parents were not. And so there's a difference there, in terms of
I just remembered something.
I had to react to these type of situations. For them to tell me I can't go outside and play hockey, I don't think it would something that would come to their mind.
Well, so I say for me it was very effective.
Yeah.
So without force being physical force being applied to me, whatever tactics they used to discipline us, it stuck. It was like, okay, I understand that if I do this, then I may not get to partake in an activity I really enjoy. And
My parents used to tell me one thing. Now that I remember, you triggered it. They would threaten that I couldn't have supper. And I was a chunky child, and I loved to eat. And as soon as my mom said, "You're not going to have supper,"
good.
whatever I was doing
good.
wrong, immediately I would be like the poster child. Of,
Yeah.
it's like, "Hey, I'm
Yeah.
good. I'm
I'm
good.
gonna be the only one in the world like that.
Don't take away my supper." As soon as she mentioned that, so yeah, she
I
never had to
can
beat me.
relate. I can appreciate that.
Yeah, I was definitely a chunky child.
You're not Pink Floyd. You can't have your
so on this topic,
yeah.
kids of our generation had no recourse. In other words, your parents were your parents. They disciplined you as they saw fit, and that's how it worked.
You belong to your
And if
your
anything,
parents.
the state kind of condoned
Yeah.
physical punishment because
The schools would do it.
Schools would do it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Absolutely.
The good old days.
Kids these days have it so
Fast
freaking easy.
forward to
Yeah.
the current environment we live in,
Yeah.
Yeah.
where not only is it frowned upon, it's deemed illegal.
Yeah. Child Protective Services. I
Yeah,
guess.
Child
CPS.
protection.
So there's no shortage of means through which a child or anyone who observes what they consider to be inappropriate physical discipline towards a child can report a parent.
Yeah, they can narc out their parents. Could you imagine back in our day?
So when I hear
No.
those stories and I think, okay, so it's terrible, and I consider it terrible for a child to be raised in an environment where they're routinely beaten, for misbehaving, as
keyword
opposed
there,
to
routinely.
trying to get to the root of the issue, the behavioral issue, and trying to solve it. But they're taken away from their family.
Yeah, that's
And then they're placed in an environment where
in a
I don't
foster
know
care.
I don't know what happens physically.
yeah.
But psychologically, it's got to be so freaking damaging to a child to be uprooted like that and placed with strangers.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Oh, definitely.
Sometimes it's the better option, which is
Yeah.
very sad.
Do you think it is often? Do you think it's the better option as often as it occurs?
No, I think
Probably not.
no.
Probably
I think it's
not.
too easy these days to rat on your parents.
A lot of Karens out there.
And you can exaggerate because the kid will always get the benefit of the doubt.
Always.
So, I mean, and I understand why, but I think often the case they exaggerate.
Well, I
Kids exaggerate.
yeah.
Well, or have a different perspective.
Yeah.
It may not be an exaggeration. It may be, look,
There's exaggeration.
you take individuals who all are involved in a similar setting, situation.
Yeah. Some will rise, some won't.
Well, no, I was going to say each one may have a completely different recollection of what occurred.
I see.
yeah.
Yeah.
And each one is convinced that it occurred the way they remember it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you're going to have a kid that goes to the hospital with broken bones,
Exactly.
okay.
that's different.
When a kid goes to school and there's bruising and a teacher notices it, okay, black and white, or
So
black
is that,
and blue, whatever.
So is that the line?
Well, it certainly is over the line. Now, if that's the line,
But okay.
you know,
so
you-
you're either bruised or you're not. It's either broken or it's not. So my point is that the demarcation line?
no, I said that's over the line. I don't know what the line
So
is,
how
but it's
do you-
definitely over the line.
How do you assess then that you haven't
Well,
crossed the line?
this is the way. Well, the way our system is supposed to work is, especially
tough part.
like schools, for example, teachers have a legal responsibility in our system.
Yeah.
That if they see certain signs
And
in a
they're trained
child,
for
and
that.
and if they suspect that the child is being
Exactly.
abused, then you have the responsibility to ask questions and to investigate, and if necessary, talk to social services.
Exactly.
So that's the way it works in our system. So not just being
every one of us supportive with that? To that? It's
I am absolutely
Mostly, I'll say mostly yes. I mean, you don't want to have overzealous, overzealous
Yeah.
teachers taking children away from parents.
We don't.
And in general, I don't see how people would be motivated to do that.
Again, in our society, in our
Yeah.
particular system,
Yeah.
the emphasis is on always keeping the child in the home environment. So everybody works around that goal. Sometimes it's not possible, but that's the starting point is to try and keep that child in their home environment
Yeah.
because of the reasons that we discussed about the consequences of going to foster care, etc.
Yeah, exactly. And forgetting about the cost, whether it be the cost to society, the cost to the child mentally, it's just it's at a certain point you gotta kind of let parents be parents as best they can, because you can have you can't drive a car without a driver's license, but any two morons can
Yeah.
bang and have a kid.
I agree with you. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And there's no playbook. I mean, I can ask the question, did you raise your second and third children, or at least your second child, the same way you raised your first? And I can tell you, we learned a lot from our first, and, apologies to Tasha for, having to be the first and putting up with, 28-year-old, first parents and trying to figure stuff out. But there's no guidebook, there's no handbook that says this is how you parent. You do your best. Yeah, everyone does their best, and there's pressures, there's financial pressures, societal pressures, spousal pressures, whatever, all this stuff that's going on, and you do your best, and you got to kind of at a certain point say, parenting isn't easy, and you do your best, but some folks aren't meant to parent.
Right.
no, absolutely.
It's
Yeah. Well said.
That's a given.
So we talked about cultural heritage
Yeah.
and the impact. So today, let's not kid ourselves. There are many cultures where corporal punishment is still
It's the norm. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you're not going to change that through generations and through assimilation because when you come to places like Canada, Western Europe, and the U.S. over time, things will change. The norm will change. Societal norms will change.
You're talking like 2-3 generations.
Correct.
Out. Yeah.
So it's going to take a few
but
generations.
not for the family that moves here or
No,
newly
exactly.
minted immigrants.
Well, that was us. That was us.
Right.
So we all, you guys more than me, but I mean, my brother got beaten as a child.
Yeah,
he was the
but
firstborn.
for anyone who knows your brother,
Shout out to Steve.
I would say it's understandable.
Mom and Dad knew what they were doing with Steve.
Look how he turned out.
Love you, Steve.
Well, I would say the psychological scars are obvious in his case.
Oh, come on.
Okay, edit, cut.
No edits, guys. Okay, final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Listen, we all have to kind of. The level of corporal punishment is very important. If you're going to just, tap someone on the hand or the butt as a means to show displeasure, take a child, lift up the child and put him on a chair, and when they move from the chair, lift them up and put them back on the chair and say, no, you stay here for your time out. All of these things, some people would consider it corporal punishment. This isn't, in my view anyway, this is part of the disciplining approach that you have to take. You have to teach a child, or the child has to learn limits and how to not push past these limits. And this is another tool in a parent's quiver, if it were, or arrow in the quiver, or whatever, tool in the whatever box, to discipline and to form the future human being that you want this child to be. We shouldn't be taking this away from parents. We should be encouraging proper discipline, and discipline that meets meets the moment. If we can do that, people would be better parents.
Yeah, I agree with Duran. If it doesn't inflict pain or injury, and if it's exceptional cases, no harm done. So.
Look, I really like the awareness around this table, and I think that reflects with a lot of parents in our society. I think they've moved on to kind of our way of thinking. Maybe it was some sort of weird acceptable tool in your toolbox at one point, but I think we can do better, and I think we are doing better, and we should continue to do better. And in that sense, let's leave that behind us.
Yeah. Anyway, good conversation. Love to hear from our viewing and listening audience. Let us know what you think. Well, our kids, I suppose, will have conversations with us if they don't recall events the way we do.
Yeah.
But yeah, to be followed for sure. Thanks for joining us.
And shout out to Steve.
Remember to like and subscribe.
And Philip.
Yeah. We'll see everyone next week.
Sounds good.
Take care, guys.
Ciao.